for use, and it recites, I think, an ordinance that you're all familiar with regarding 80 decibels at the boundary of residential districts. That is a true statement of the current status regarding the sound ordinance in Millville. Is that right?
That's correct.
A sound analysis study of the projected sound levels and how sound attenuation methods, i.e. sound walls, addresses them should be provided. An analysis on key receptors should include the closest residential property, the Silver Run School, and the Bevan Wildlife Management Tract. You were asked to do that, is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you do that?
Yes.
Could you let the board and the public know what your findings are?
Well, with regard to Silver Run School, that's approximately 6,000 feet from the closest part of the race course. And we're projecting that the decibel level during a race is going to be somewhere around 50 decibels at the Silver Run School. Obviously, the race will be occurring outside of school hours, so there will be some noise that can be heard during school hours when there's testing or something going on at the track other than racing per se. But the typical situation is going to be school's going to be out, and you're going to be looking at about a 50 decibel level at its most intense activity at the school. 50 decibels, that meets actually the evening or nighttime thresholds for noise based on the State Noise Control Act, which would be what would be allowed to be generated by the commercial use to a residential use during the hours of 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that's the type of intensity that's going to be heard at the Silver Run School, which obviously is a nighttime type of situation. With regard
now, the Silver Run School, the racing generally happens on weekends when school's not in session.
That's correct.
Bevan Wildlife Management Tract.
The closest area of Bevan to the road course is about 1,750 feet. We projected out the sound levels based on the road course design, and we're finding that without any attenuation or barriers, anything like that, that there's going to be a decibel level of about 59 decibels at the Bevan property line at its closest point. Again, well within the ordinance requirements, well within generally accepted requirements in terms of daytime situations. And we're not doing anything in the wildlife area that would be considered impactful from a noise standpoint.
The closest residential property, which residentially zoned property, is the Porreca Drive neighborhood. Is that right?
That's correct.
And have you done studies in that regard?
Yes, we have. Closest property line is about 3,400 feet from the nearest point of the road course. We've again projected that out with no attenuation at about 55 decibels. And again, that's well within generally accepted standards, well within the standards that were set by the city. And in essence, it's about the same as the ambient noise that you would hear during the daytime. 55 decibels would be normal activity that you would hear during a summer day when you're walking down the street.
Now, in fact, the plan that we have presented before the board has a sound attenuation wall at the light bulb turn. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that was designed to impact sound going from that area towards the Porreca Drive neighborhood. Is that right?
That's correct.
That is the closest area of the track to that neighborhood?
That's correct.
And it's also an area where there would be deceleration and acceleration both into and out of the turn. Is that right?
That's correct.
The consent order, which resulted out of the litigation, which the board is familiar with, required what level of function of the sound attenuation wall at the light bulb turn?
Trying to get about 10 decibels reduced from the highest impact where the noise will be generated.
And so the testimony that you gave earlier will be impacted by the effect of that sound attenuation wall.
Absolutely.
Is that right? The exact design, exactly what it'll be, is still, there's a number of materials.
Number of different materials that can be used, and that's still under consideration, but the 10 decibels, the target that's being sought in terms of the material that's going to be used.
Very good. Under the GDP approval, I'm off to item 4C. The city requested and the applicant agreed to monitor noise levels for a minimum of 12 months after the facility is operated. And I wrote in my own notes, that was at the Porreca Drive neighborhood.
Right. That is obviously the most sensible place since it's the closest to residential receptors and was of high concern based on our previous meetings.
Okay. Off to, I think we're done.